You've clicked this button probably 10,000 times. A little gray banner pops up, you don't even look at it, and you tap Accept All just to make it go away. You have never once read what you agreed to. Nobody has. So let's actually read it. Not the whole document. Nobody has that kind of time. Just enough to understand what leaves your device the second you tap that button, where it goes, and who's waiting on the other end. Today we're following that data. Where it goes, who buys it, and why the button is designed exactly the way it is so that you never say no. First, let's clear up what a cookie even is. It's a tiny text file a website leaves on your device, originally just to remember things like your login or your shopping cart. Genuinely useful. But somewhere along the way, cookies became the delivery mechanism for something much bigger, tracking exactly what you do, everywhere, all the time. Here's the part most people never think about. When you accept cookies on one website, you're often not just agreeing to that website. Buried in the fine print are dozens, sometimes hundreds, of third parties, advertising networks and data brokers who get a copy too. One click on one site, and a whole invisible room full of companies you've never heard of just learned something about you. Okay, so it's tracking. But what does anyone actually do with knowing which website I looked at? One click doesn't do much. But you don't click once. You click Accept All on dozens of sites a week for years. Each click adds one more data point. What you searched, what you lingered on, what you almost bought. Individually meaningless. Stitched together over time, they build something with a name, a profile. And it can end up knowing you disturbingly well. And that profile isn't just sitting in a drawer somewhere. There is an entire industry, data brokers, whose only business is buying profiles like yours from one company and selling them to another. Your browsing habits, your rough location history, your likely income bracket, your interests, even your mood patterns, packaged and sold, often for a few cents at a time, thousands of times over. The most visible result is the one you already know. You mention something once, near your phone, or search it once at 2 a.m., and suddenly it's following you across every app for a week. That's not a coincidence, and it's rarely your microphone listening. It's your data profile, cross-referenced against millions of others with similar patterns, predicting what you're about to want before you've fully decided yourself. Here's a darker one. Some companies use your data profile to decide what price to actually show you. Two people searching the exact same flight at the exact same time can be shown different numbers based on their browsing history, their device, even how many times they've checked that same page. Looking desperate to book costs you money. The system knows when you're desperate, and it goes further than shopping. In some markets, insurers have used purchase data, your habits, your patterns, sometimes your social media activity, to help estimate risk and set premiums. Employers have used background check services built partly on data broker information during hiring. Your digital exhaust, the stuff you never thought twice about, can quietly follow you into rooms that decide real things about your life. Now let's talk about the button itself, because it isn't designed by accident. Accept All is almost always big, bright, and one single tap. Reject or Manage Preferences is smaller, grayer, hidden behind extra clicks, sometimes buried 3 menus deep. This is called a dark pattern, a design deliberately built to exploit the fact that you're in a hurry and will take the path of least resistance. And if you're determined enough to actually click Manage Preferences, you're often dropped into a maze, dozens of toggles, vague category names, buried submenus, sometimes 40 or more individual switches to turn off one at a time. It's not incompetence. Studies of these interfaces have found the friction is deliberate. Complexity is the wall between you and actually saying no. But here's where this stops being just depressing. Because once you understand exactly how the button works, there are a few specific moves that genuinely put you back in control, and one law that changed the whole game, at least for some of us. In the European Union, privacy regulation, most famously GDPR, legally requires that rejecting cookies be exactly as easy as accepting them. No extra clicks, no maze, no smaller button. It's why, if you've ever browsed from Europe, you've probably noticed Reject All sitting right next to Accept All for once, equally sized. Regulation, it turns out, is one of the only things that reliably beats a dark pattern. So here's what actually works, wherever you are. 1. Always look for Reject or Manage, even when it's small. A few extra seconds now is worth it. 2. A browser's built-in tracker blocking, turned on once, quietly does most of this work for you automatically, forever. 3. Periodically clear cookies and check what permissions old apps still have. Most people have never once looked. None of this requires being a technical expert. It just requires refusing to be in a hurry for 3 extra seconds. Here's the honest reframe. Almost none of this is illegal, and most companies involved would say, correctly, that you technically agreed to all of it. The problem was never that permission wasn't asked. It's that the entire button was engineered so that asking wouldn't actually feel like a choice. The best defense isn't outrage. It's just 3 extra seconds and 1 more click every single time. So what actually happens when you click accept all? A copy of your digital life leaves your device and quietly joins a profile that gets bought, sold, and used to predict, price, and sometimes judge you. Built one hurried, unread click at a time. It was never really about cookies. It was about whether 3 seconds of your attention was worth more to you than it was to them. So next time that banner pops up, take the 3 seconds. Hit subscribe. We've pulled apart the supermarket, the printer aisle, the casino, and now the cookie banner. There's always another one designed to work on you. See you there.